أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. The opening part of this verse means, O you who believe, fasting the month of Ramadan has been made obligatory upon you. كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم, just as it was made obligatory upon the prophets and the nations before you, from the time of Adam alayhi salam to your era. While the prophets of Allah were sent with different rulings to their nations at times, some rulings and obligations were shared by all the nations. Among them was the obligation of fasting. And so this is an ancient act of worship that remained through the eras. However, the Ummah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the first one that was obligated to fast in the month of Ramadan. Previous nations were obligated to fast on different days and at different times of the year. Take note, though, that while the prophets sometimes were sent with different laws and rulings, they all came with the same one belief. Each prophet of Allah called to one religion, which was Islam, and all had the same correct belief in Allah and called the people to it. Every prophet confirmed the existence of Allah without any doubt and affirmed godhood for Him alone. No prophet said God had a partner nor called to any other religion. Every single prophet was always a Muslim, from before they became prophets to after, and were always protected by Allah from ever blaspheming, committing any major sins, or lowly minor sins. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in a hadith narrated by al-Imam al-Bukhari in his book As-Sahih, Al-Anbiya'u ikhwatun li'allatin, ummahatuhum shatta, wa dinuhum wahid. This means the prophets are like brothers with different mothers, meaning their rulings at times were different, وَدِينُهُمْ وَاحِدٌ, while their religion was always one. We know from this that no prophet was ever an idol worshipper, or sun or moon worshipper, or a Christian or Jew at any moment of their lives. And if one was to believe otherwise, then their belief in the prophets would be wrong, and this would harm their belief, resulting in them needing to come back to the religion of Islam. The verse ends with Allah revealing, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, which means, perhaps through fasting, you would avoid the sins and attain piety. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in a hadith narrated by An-Nasa'i, As-Siyamu Junnatun lis-Sa'im, which means fasting protects the fasting person. This is because fasting makes one's self become strong and firm and helps it to refrain from falling into what is evil and sinful. And fasting the month of Ramadan is amongst the greatest acts of worship. The acts of worship by which a person can gain a huge amount of reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and would weigh heavy for him on his scale of deeds on the Day of Judgment. One needs to ensure then that their fasting is valid by learning what makes it valid and invalid, and at all times ensuring that their intention is sincere for the sake of Allah alone. May Allah the Exalted enable us to remain steadfast upon fulfilling the obligation of fasting the month of Ramadan and enable us to benefit from what remains of this honorable month, and Allah Ta'ala knows best.